Guess what ended like a month and a half ago? Can you guess if I succeeded or not? Can you? Well, I didn't get the million words in the million word challenge, but let's just go through the stats anyways. Hello, I'm Sophie welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the milwordy recap. If you didn't hear about it like a year ago, it's a writing challenge where you're supposed to track how many words you wrote or did stuff with every day in the hopes that you could get a million words in 365 days. I joined not to get the million, though it would have been cool if I did, but to just learn how to track and like see my trends. So that's what I did. I joined, and it was from August to August. Well, it started in September, ended August 31st of this year. So, this is what I did. So, I worked on 7 projects in total, over the whole year. 7 projects that were full, like, novel stories. That was the goal, at least. Maybe they didn't reach full novel length, but they aren't, like, short stories or poems or anything. They're novels or series. There's one series in there that has a full like second book already in the making. There are multiple series, but they only have the first book. You get what I mean. So, project what? The main project of this channel, I finished draft 2 during this and got beta readers. So, that was crazy. Then, Project Star, my sci-fi. I finished the 0 draft of that story pretty early on, I think. Actually, no, not early on at all. Never mind, that was this year. It took me a while, actually, to draft that one. Then, for Project Quest, my fantasy series that I've been talking about a lot lately, because it has a lot of problems, I finished both 0 drafts for book 1 and 2, so halfway there. Halfway there. For Project Glass, this sort of urban fantasy dystopian contemporary thing that I haven't worked on in a while, and I feel bad about it because I love that story so much. I only finished revising the 0 draft during this because I had finished the story beforehand. I think a month beforehand I finished it, and I was just finishing up the revisions when milwordy started, and I haven't touched the story since. Then Project End, my nano story from last year, I finished the draft and I revised it during this little challenge. Then I had 2 co-written projects here, one fantasy, one sci-fi. The fantasy one with Books and Maddie. Did she change her channel name? Oh no. Our fantasy, Project Sin, or Royalty and Thievery, we finished the first draft of that. And then my sci-fi, Project Cyberspace. We were doing really good. We were doing really good on the draft, and then we realized, don't really like this much, so we began changing it. And then we let it sit for a little bit, and then we're like, maybe not. So then we changed it again, and that's where we are currently. So it's gone through a lot of changes. So we haven't finished a draft, but where it is now, super excited for it. Alright, so what you're here for. The million words. How close did I get? Not very. I mean, it's a passing grade, if you think about it. In total, gotta check the spreadsheet, I got 741,487 words over the whole year. Let's break that up. Now, the real stats part, the word counts. So, just as a preface, this covers plotting words that I counted, brainstorming words, the actual drafting words, and then the amount of words revised. So if I revised a whole chapter that day, I would put like 3,000 words in under revising. So not all of it is new words being put into the draft, it's just words worked on. I'm gonna have to look at my actual numbers here, they're kind of big. So, for Project What, I got 345,796 words total over all of those categories. For Project Star, the sci-fi, it was 64,227. For Project Quest, which, if you remember, I tried to do that 1 book a month thing that ultimately fell apart as I got sick during the 2nd month and just gave up. Anyways, I got 107,076 words from that whole, I don't want to say franchise, but like that whole series. Yeah, there we go. Then for Project Glass, which like I said I only revised, I got 16,651 words. Then Project End, drafting plus revising, I got 67,393. For Project Sin, or Royalty and Thievery, however one would like to refer to it, we have a lot of names for it, we got 59,356 words. And then for Cyberspace, which is going through the ringer, we got 22,310 words. You can tell which ones I worked on the most because they are the only ones with 6 figures. But makes sense, those were the main priorities. So far, finishing Project What to get to beta readers and trying to finish the series. Project Quest. Ultimately realizing a lot of stuff needed to be fixed, giving up twice, finishing the second book, printing those both out, and now rereading those 2 to figure out what's wrong in those to set up the second half of the series. It's great! I love writing! Moving on. Here, I thought it'd be fun to see how many days I worked on the different stages of work, just to see how much time, on average, I spent on certain things. These do end up being more than 365 days because certain days I did multiple things. Not a lot, but sometimes. So, once again, the 4 categories are plotting, brainstorming, drafting, and revising. So, for plotting, I did that about 40 days over all 7 projects. For brainstorming, 35 days. For drafting, 216 days over the 7 projects. And then revising, 81 days. So, bit of a difference there. Kind of makes sense, because drafting does take a while for me, but like the plotting and brainstorming part is like that. It's done and done. And then revising, it's just reading, essentially, plus making notes on what to change, so it doesn't take too long. It does take longer than the plotting and the brainstorming, but not too much longer. So, my final thoughts on this experiment. I thought it was great. I love seeing these kinds of trends and things, just as like research and like just for funsies. So, doing this was cool. And I have a year's worth of data now, which, wow. Never thought I'd stick to something for that long. The thing is, though, I didn't really keep up with it too well. Like, I was also tracking my school words, and I just stopped doing that. So I haven't done that in a while. So my number would probably change a lot, but I just haven't put those in, so I'm not counting them now. This, as I said, showed me a bunch of trends and stuff, so it showed me where my slumps were, which were mostly in 2021. That's when everything started to fall apart. Yay! And as I said earlier, it did show me how long it takes me to do certain things. So like brainstorming and plotting, pretty standard, not a lot of time taken, while drafting does take a lot longer, and the revising is pretty quick too. And while I'm not a huge fan of the word count tracking, mostly because it's a lot of upkeep personally, just because I have so many projects I'm working on to keep track of, I do like seeing the trends of what stage of work I'm in, so I might keep doing the stage work tracking instead of just word counts. But that is basically it. I thought it was really fun. I can't believe I stuck with it pretty good for a whole year. It's really fun to see the graph. It's very colorful because of how I set up the categories. But yeah, that's basically it. Can't believe it's done. I keep wanting to come back and be like, oh no, I gotta track my words for this, and I don't, which makes me feel weird. I'm like, my purpose is gone. I don't know how many people stuck out with it, but I did. Woo! Anyways, if you participated and you stuck it out the whole year, how did you do? Did you hit the million? Did you get close? Did you get a higher grade than I did? If so, let me know how it went. I would love to know. But if not, thanks so much for watching, thanks for being here, thanks for hanging out, and hope to see you in the next one. Peace.